So, tips and tricks for this weekly. We got primitive. This one is not, look, I'll be right off the front. This is not going to be an easy one, especially if you're new. And even for those who are veterans at this game, like, 3-4 years playing this thing, this is not going to be easy. If you are not used to doing 1 or 0 evidence, this is not easy. Because, yes, you've got evidence gear. Yes, technically this is 3 evidence. You will most likely only get 1 evidence, if any, most of the time. You might get lucky and get 2 every once in a while. I doubt you'll ever... You might get 3. I've never gotten 3 on this, and I think this is my 3rd or 4th time doing this weekly. But the biggest thing that's going to trip you up on this is you've got 4 ghosts that you really won't be able to figure out, and a 5th ghost that you're going to have to pay very close attention to. So, Banshee, Jin, Goryo, Raiju. There's nothing that's going to tip you off. The weekly itself is already set for changing rooms, none. So, Banshee and Goryo, if they change rooms, I mean, one of the ways to find a tip-off for these 2 ghosts is that it changes rooms. And, well, that the ghost changes rooms, and you know Banshee and Goryo cannot change rooms. Well, the weekly is set to not changing rooms, so all the ghosts won't be able to change rooms. They can roam, they can do events outside the room, but they always have to come back. So that's going to make that hard, Banshee hard, and Goryo hard. Plus, Banshee, you don't have a parabolic, can't hear for the scream. Goryo, you can't, you don't have dots. Plus, Banshee, you don't have motion sensors to be able to set out and see if the ghost will walk to you and then walk back after 25 seconds. Jin, the breaker's broke. You can't see the speed up. It's just going to act like a regular 50% ghost. Raiju doesn't do its ability unless it's got electronics by it. You don't have electronics. So it's just going to be a normal speed 50% ghost. The other ghost is going to be Mimic. Mimic is easier only because you can, if you pay enough attention, you can, be able to notice a behavior change. Or if you're lucky, get a speed change. As far as a regular, let's say a Wraith, or let's say Mare. And it changes to like a Deogen or Moroi or a Thay or something like that. That will make things easier. All right, so thanks to Mike for showing this. But one of the other tips that you can use is realize you've got 5 seconds for grace period. So when the ghost hunts, it's got 5 seconds before it can chase you. That's going to give you plenty of time to get to your hiding spots, and the hiding spots are set to very high, which means you've got almost every hiding spot on that map. You might be missing 1 or 2. The rest you're going to have. So you're going to have plenty of time to get to your hiding spots. So use this. Don't waste your smudge sticks. Always keep your back to where you can get to your hiding spots. And when you hear it, run. And don't waste your smudge sticks until you have to waste your smudge sticks. So the gear you have is you've got tier 2 books, tier 2 UV, tier 1 thermometer, tier 1 crucifixes, tier 2 salt, tier 1 smudge sticks, tier 2 candles, and tier 1 lighters. I recommend taking your evidence gear first. Don't bother with this stuff until you need it. You've got 100% sanity. It's a small house. You should be able to find the ghost pretty quick. Plus, you got the Ouija board. If you really wanted to find out where the ghost is, you could always go and use the Ouija board. I wouldn't recommend it because then it's going to be hunting you. And it might end, if you get an early hunt, that will help you out. So if you get like a 60% ghost or anything, or like 75%, well, 75 Thays or demon, but like Mare, Onryo, things like that, you want them to hunt you at 60. So you don't want to go ask where the ghost is and have it go to 50%, and then you don't know if it's an early hunt ghost or not, because you have no sandy pills to get the sanity back up. So don't use a Ouija board until you need to use a Ouija board. Don't use it early. It's going to mess you up on being able to identify the ghost. When looking for the ghost, I recommend use a thermometer. Use the thermometer, use your ears. Just walk around from each room, just kind of pay attention to the thermometer, seeing if it drops. Did you know it's going to go up and down? What you're looking for is for it to drop down below 10. That is going to be most likely your room. But if it's between 15 and like 12, that's not going to be, it's going to bounce up and it's going to be bouncing back and forth. Just kind of walk around until you get that, moment of where the thermometer keeps going down, at least till 10. and that should end up being your room. What you're looking for on the thermometer is for it to start doing this. Is it just continuously starts going down and it's not going back up. That usually is what's going to tell you what your room is, without having to use a Ouija board. Okay, every time you come out to the truck, always look at your sanity. See where you're at. Like right now we're at 95, we're pretty good. So once you find the room, what you want to be bringing in next is things to test with. So this is going to let us know if it's a wraith or not. That's going to let us know about an Onryo. And you might as well just go ahead and bring in... You can or cannot bring in crucifixes right now. What you don't want is... These are one uses. You don't want to have these get used too early. So right now I would say leave these behind and then go back in. All right, anytime the ghost does anything that can give you possible evidence, go check. Step in the salt. I see no UV. We just had an event, but it also just did writing. Anytime the ghost does anything that can check off any of these, make sure you automatically go out there and you check them off. In this case, though, we also got writing, so now this does this, but we also know we don't have UV. So now this makes this much easier to handle. Remember, anytime you get touched in an event, it's a small house. Run out here. Take a look. It might give something away. Like we knew we were around 90. We got touched during an event. We only got a 10%. So we know it's not an Oni. So now we can go over, well, Oni's not an option anyway. But let's say Oni was still an option. We could cross it off. So anything that happens that can let you cross off a ghost, go do it. Don't try to remember it later. Do it right now. If that means walking outside the house, marking it off, then do that. So once you start getting some evidence or you're able to cross off evidence, in this case, we got writing, but we also knew we didn't have UV. Start looking at then take a look at your ghost. What can you take in, or what do you need to be paying attention to? Like Moroi, you know this is 50, this is 50, that's a 75, that's a 60, that's a 50, that's a 35, that's a 50. So we know for this one, you're going to need, you're not really going to figure this one out until a hunt and you smudge it. That one, start paying attention to lights. See if, now you don't have power, so you're not going to see lights on. But take a look at the light switches. See if the ghost turned a light switch on. If it did, you know it's a mare. Revenant, that's a hunt. Shade, that's just paying attention and waiting to see that you're not getting any action in that room, and the ghost isn't hunting until 35. Moroi is hunts, Deosion's hunt, Thay's hunt. So in this case, this is actually going to be a little bit easier, but once you figure out what your ghosts are, remember what the behaviors are, and if you don't know that, go out to Tyban's Phasmo cheat sheet and take a look at what you've got and what behaviors you should be paying attention to. Okay, so you've got one evidence. You've been able to cross another evidence off. All you've got left, let's say in my case here, all I've got is temperature gauge. It's not really going down. It probably is not going to go down. By now, I would have figured it would have been getting a little closer to 0. It's not. It's sticking right around 4. So once you get everything that you think you've tested everything with all the gear that you've got to be able to test, you've got all that stuff. What you can do now is take a look and go, okay, I'm sitting at, I'm sitting somewhere, but we don't want to give up this. We don't want to give up, this. So if, let's say, all these ghosts were 50% ghost, then by all means, use the Ouija board, get a hunt started, get other things going on, and get your sanity drained so you can actually get some hunts and figure out what the ghost is. In my case, though, I've got a 60%, a 75%, and a 35%, plus 50s. I really can't use the Ouija board yet. But know when to use the Ouija board and when not to use the Ouija board to get things going. Because you don't want to miss evidence just because of you used the Ouija board and you blew past what it can, the limits. And then also remember, walk around, take a look at all of your light switches. If nothing's up, could be a mare. Remember, just because you've got your, let's say your thermometer in my case was sitting around 4 degrees. Remember, sometimes these weeklies and sometimes just your games in general are going to be, it's going to take sometimes a long time before your thermometer is going to go down. So while you're waiting, while you're doing other stuff, just constantly pick up the thermometer, take a look at it, see if it's gone to below 0. It probably is not going to. If it's kind of looking like the way mine's been looking, it's probably not going to. But just in case, just pick it up. I've had plenty of times where it has gone down after the fact, and then I get something wrong because of it. So just, pick it up, take a look at it. Make sure you're not below 0. So one of the things you want to do, if you've got a shade and you're having to sit here and wait, is bring some stuff in. Bring some stuff in, throw it in the room, just to see if the ghost is going to interact with it. Like, we've had that yellow cup's been thrown a couple of times. It's played the piano a couple of times. The only thing you need to make sure of is make sure that some of the stuff is outside of 4 meters from another room. Now, in this case, unfortunately, in small houses, especially this house is one of them, it's hard. You're not going to get away from 4 meters. So a shade could go all the way over to here, throw something from here, you go over to here, throw something from here, go over to here, throw something from here. It can do stuff away from you, like just through that cup. So in this case, though, I would think that it's not going to be a shade. Keep an eye on it, though, just for some fact of, if you're getting down to 35% and it still hasn't ate a crucifix, then yeah, then it's probably going to be a shade. And it's probably just going to other rooms to do stuff in. Periodically come out to the truck, see where your sanity's at. You can start looking, it's like, okay, probably not going to be that. We just got to 60, could be that. Now, granted, each game's going to be different, but the same rules apply. If you've got early hunt ghost, always come out periodically and see where your sanity's at. See if, okay, now I need to start paying attention. If it hunts now, it's going to be one of these two. Or whatever ghost choices you have. But you don't want to be in the house the whole time, have a hunt, and then go, where was my sanity? So periodically, come in, come back out to the truck, take a look at your sanity. Alright, so we just got a crucifix bite. As soon as you get a crucifix bite, run out. Once again, go check your sanity board. Because we could cross off, because if it's before 50, we could cross off a bunch of ghosts. So 56, 59, it can't get to 50 from this. So now we know it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that. We know it's not going to be that. It can't be those two. In this case, in my case, this ghost is going to be a mare. Because one of the things that happened on the last patch is, if you've noticed while you've been playing, the ghosts are turning on lights a lot more than what they used to be. I rarely have a game that, if it's not a mare, I don't get a light switch turned on. So I get a light switch turned on somewhere. If it's a mare, I don't. And in this case, I have not had a single light switch turned on. Yeah, I know I don't have power, but every adjacent room, I have not had the ghost turn anything on. So in this case, I would go definitely a mare. Now, to be on the safe side, I would probably pick up this. I would pick up this, and I'll just let the ghost hunt. Because in my case, it's mare or Thay. Very, very easy. In case of Thay, because I have been in that room for a while, I probably have aged it. In this case, I would go here. Because as we know, Thays stay at the same speed. So if it starts its hunt over there, and it doesn't change speed the whole way here from line of sight speed change, then we know it's a Thay. If it does change speed, we know it's a mare. And here we go. Yeah, see, speed was changing. And there you go. But I hope these tips and tricks will help you out. I know it's not all of them. There's probably some I'm missing. These are just some of the things off the top of my head that, after I did the weekly and after doing a couple of hunts just to test some things, that I was like, let me put out a couple of things. Maybe it'll help people. Maybe it won't. Hopefully it does, though. So if it did help you, please give the video a like, and yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please give the channel a subscribe. But I hope I'll talk to you all later, and good hunting on the weekly. Bye.